new style mushroom farm. Quonset hut construction is what we have in 2/3 of the farm inclusive, and the other third is a different construction, just for the heck of it. And you can see in here, these metal poles are fixed metal shelves. Get you. Put another one of those. Oh, yeah, you're part of it. You're an integrated part of this. No.
I forgot there was another slip.
One more shelf. There we go. So, calusa mushroom. There we go. Fixed metal shelves. The compost is brought into the shelves with a really cool thing. At one end of the shelf, there's a reel. And there's a big, long tarp that is on this reel. And you pull the tarp in on the outside of the room, you dump the compost onto the reel. And it pulls itself right into the shelf. Oh, no.
We don't need to run a wizard right now.
Like another quarter? But the peat moss on. Remember I said there's some peat moss? There's a little gizmo that travels on these metal tracks. So all these things that are built into the system are part of the system. It's an integrated approach to growing mushrooms that begins with the compost preparation area where we have aerated floors. At a certain point, you need to pasteurize the compost to kill off any pathogens there that might be in the compost before you plant it. In most mushroom farms, you do that with a great big steam boiler. Yeah, half as big as this room sucker consumes natural gas like you wouldn't believe. That PG&E guy comes out and brings you candy every month. Amazing. Well, we don't do that anymore. Because we have aerated floor composting, we have aerated floor pasteurization too. So we can actually put the compost into a stainless steel building, blow air into it and control it by computer, and get just the right amount of air to reach up and build up a population of microbes who, by their own body temperature, increase the compost temperature up to the point where they kill off all the bad bugs and let the high temperature bugs, the thermophilic bacteria, survive. So we take it up to 140 degrees for 4 hours, then lower it down in temperature for a couple of days, a little bit at a time. And these high temperature bugs that can live above 140 degrees get to actually eat the dead bodies of the little bad bugs. It's kind of like Nerd's Revenge. The high temperature guy's kind of delicate, and the lower temperature guy's kind of thugs. Well, like going back and kicking the high school quarterback. And at the end, when we get below 110 degrees, even the thermophilic bacteria, the high temperature bacteria, dies from cold. So we've killed the bad guys by going up to 140. We've killed the good guys by bringing them down to 100 degrees. So when we plant it, it's actually pure enough to eat. You can actually chew it. And I do that for kids when I take a school tour. Oh, you can eat this stuff. Ew, lucky. How much at a time?
We're wrapping this up.
We're wrapping this up momentarily here. Anyway, this is the physical part of the stuff. The cool stuff, the innovative part, is the application of a lot of stuff that we're doing. Heating and cooling. You got to heat these guys, you got to cool these guys. Instead of going back to PG&E and buying the heat, we can get it out of the ground. We can take water out of the ground, run it through a heat pump, put the water back in the ground, and extract either heating or cooling from that. Now, alternatively, what I'd really like to do is be able to develop one of these facilities near a wastewater treatment plant. You go, wastewater treatment. They have big ponds, tertiary wastewater treatment ponds. Don't need that water, but we need the heat that's in that water. Pumping water out of the ground and back into the ground is expensive going vertically. Going horizontally doesn't hardly cost anything at all. So we could use the heat from these water sources, capture that temperature differential, use it, build it here. Also, since we've got the aerated floors, we've captured the build facility. We're in a building that's 7 acres in size, one roof over everything. Gives you a format for solar development, so we can harness photovoltaically, harness electricity. Where we're targeting this particular project is in an area where there's a lot of wind. It's in Solano County. And the wind then gets to be another source of electricity. So we can harness electricity from the wind during the night, from the sun during the day. So we can balance out our electrical load that way. It takes a lot of electricity to grow mushrooms. The entire plant is electrically operated, so to speak. We've got winches that pull things in, air that's flowing through. Temperature is controlled that way. Anything else? I'm going to go look at the cheat sheet now, see what else I might have. Because we are under roof and on a concrete slab, there's no contamination of the soil. There's no contamination from using ground. We don't have to till the soil or anything. The materials we use are wheat straw, which is a byproduct of wheat production, cottonseed meal, byproduct of both seed oils and from the cotton fiber. Gypsum generated from wall boards, recycled wall boards. So we're recycling all our materials as raw feedstock, making a compost out of them that we grow mushrooms on, and at the end we pasteurize that compost material and sell it as an organic fertilizer. So it's a complete throughput, completely clean that way. There's no contamination of the soil. There's no single generation, single use articles in the process. Recycled in, valuable product, recycled going out. We recycle our water, we capture our air, deactivated gizmos. I can go on for hours. Any questions?
Do you need another 5 minutes?
Oh,
Chair,
you've got 5 minutes
relinquish
again.
5 of my minutes.
We'll move on to another question.
So my question is, so you talked about the old style mushroom farmer, you know, they're all, you know, retired on the spot kind of, you know,
Right.
taking the time. What caused you to take a different approach?
Okay. This actually has, this type of approach has been evolving in Europe for 20 years. But integrating a lot of these other aspects hasn't been done anyplace else. Now, we are the first.
Integrating which kinds of aspects?
Of the recycling the air,
Recycling.
recycling the water,
The energy.
forced air composting, heat pump utilization, solar roof wind power generation. None of that's been done before. Now, we are the first farm in the United States to have been built on this model. This is our farm in Calusa. I'm the manager of Premier Mushroom Farm. And that's what we got right there. It is very similar to mushroom farms built all around the world, though. So this is a typical sort of application. The advantage of using the model that's existing around the country, around the world, is that it's an open architecture. Very much like Microsoft has open architecture. There's many people that can develop Microsoft programs. Apple doesn't have open architecture, so there's fewer people that can develop. With this open architecture, there are companies that make machines that can help the mushroom farmer. So by adapting this international standard, we can then use automatic harvesting machines, automatic peat moss laying machines, automatic de-stumping machines after the mushrooms have been picked out. If you have those wooden bins, remember we saw wooden bins earlier? Some are 8 feet, 1 inch long by 4 feet wide, some are 3 feet 9 by 7. There's no uniformity. So in the United States, there's no uniformity at any other existing mushroom farm. They can't take advantage of the kind of stuff.
So that's where you went to get your answers.
Right.
My question still remains, what was the catalyst to cause you to take a different approach?
I've been looking at mushrooms in my entire career as the recycling aspect. So we've got all these raw materials that are all recycled products. Why don't we go one step farther? What is the next step that we could go? So we could use forced air that's going to conserve the raw materials. Then I said, okay, we got forced air, that's a good thing. What else can we do? Well, we got to put a roof over the thing. Why waste having a roof without doing solar? So then I talk to the solar guys, and they say, solar's only good during the sunlight. It gets windy in many neighborhoods when the sun goes down. Okay, so let's integrate some wind in there. Okay, so it's, as you can tell, I've got a small amount of passion for this.
I can see, yes.
My passion has driven me to, okay, what's the next thing we can do? Where else can we go with this? And I've just been in the industry so long, I've had a lot of spare time. Anybody here?
So it
been
was
too
boredom
long?
was the catalyst. Yeah,
Yeah.
boredom and curiosity.